Hello, dear listener. Towards the end of this episode, we give Kurt his tarot reading, and you will hear distortions in volume throughout. This is because I, the alchemist, need to turn towards the cards to do the reading properly. Please excuse these changes in volume as your alchemist and academic learn how to edit these clips for you. Now, on to the episode. There are forces around us that we can feel, hear, and see, but to some, there is no explanation as to why. This podcast discusses everything that we, as a society, are taught to doubt. We interview our science and data-driven co-host to see if we can shift his perspective and get him to embrace the alchemist within. Are they just fun playing cards? Or maybe you've thought they were evil and cursed. Join us on this episode as we talk about the origins and the practice of tarot cards. Hello and welcome back to The Alchemist and the Academic. I am your host, Rebecca Finale, your alchemist, and I am here with our co-host, Kurt Braddock, our academic.
Welcome
Hello,
back,
Kurt.
Becca. Hello, Becca.
So we are here to talk about our second episode of the podcast, and it is our first episode in our divination mini-series, and today is all about tarot.
Something I'm very skeptical about, but perhaps the drink in front of me will make me believe a little bit more.
So we are going to start off our podcast with our little ritual of a cheers to...
And I thought of something in between shows I forgot to say too. I think we should say what we drink every episode and see how it evolves over time.
Oh, okay.
I know you have
I'm a creature of habit.
You're a creature of habit. We should mix you up a little bit, but what do you have over there?
So I have a vodka soda with extra lemon because it's low-cal and...
That's what you go for. You're a runner. Yeah. You're a runner. I'm usually a whiskey guy, but tonight I'm a Merlot guy. I have a glass of Merlot here. So
you're an everything guy.
I mix, and you got everybody's amazed by when I mix in one night.
Yeah, great.
But anyway, cheers. Episode 2. Yep, and listener, you get to hear the clink and the table.
All right, so we'll start with, so you said you know nothing, but do you have any sort of information or, what's your idea of tarot?
So, as with many things, much of my knowledge about tarot is derived from what I see in movies. I am a big, as you know, movie fan. Becca's been on the other podcast known as Dark Overtones. Check it out. But no, I've seen tarot used in a lot of movies that I enjoy. Weirdly enough, the one that comes to mind is in the movie Tombstone, which is a Western from 1993. Right before everything goes to shit, the women are playing with tarot cards or using tarot cards, and they see, they get what cards do they pull? They pull the Tower of Babel, they pull Death, and I forget what the other one was, but they pulled them, and it was supposed to be like, oh no, they pulled these cards, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, Death sounds bad, but my knowledge also extends to a lot of the cards that sound bad aren't necessarily bad. Like, Death sounds bad, but doesn't necessarily mean bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that something bad is going to happen. I know that much. That's about it. I know the art's cool. Like, so okay, let me see if I can name some of the cards that I know.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Love
So, Death.
Right, I was like, so we got Death covered.
The Devil. The Devil's one. The Devil. The Devil, I think, was the third card that they pulled.
I was gonna guess.
Yes, that was the Devil. Tower of Babel. Isn't there one? It's like the Six of Swords or something?
Yes.
Is that a card? Okay, Six of Swords. And does that have to do with the Sword of Damocles, or am I making that up? Like, that's a bad card, right?
So
Like if we'll get into it, we can wait. But
I say there are no bad cards.
Okay.
There's no bad cards, but that's my opinion. That's just how I practice them.
Okay.
The Six of Swords, like I also, whenever I practice, and I'll go into it a little more, but I do like one word associations.
Okay.
And even though I say one word, it's like a phrase. But Six of Swords is letting go.
Okay. So we'll dive more into the meaning in a bit. Okay. I know Six of Swords. Let me see what else. We talked about the one. You have a tattoo of one. Mm-hmm. The boss bitch, the head lady, the head priestess?
High priestess.
Yes. High priestess is one. Oh, the other dude. The dude. I'm not going to get his name, but the guy that upside down, we were going to say it was this guy, but I can't remember who he is. He's the academic.
The Hierophant.
The Hierophant. Okay, so that.
Or Hierophant. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm guessing Hierophant because H-I-E, right? Like hieroglyph.
I think it's H-E-I-R-O.
Okay. I don't know. How many tarot cards are there anyway?
So there are actually 78.
So I got 6. I think 6, which is that's divisible or a divisor of 78. That's 6, 12. I got 1 out of 13.
There you go.
Yep, 1 out of 13.
Oh, lucky 13.
Maybe. I might know others. There's isn't there one with a knight? Wearing
There's
a
4
lance.
with knights.
There's one with a lance. Is somebody had a lance in one? Am I making that up?
So the knight, no, you're not. So there's 4 knights, and they all are carrying whatever suit they are.
Okay.
So that would be like their lance, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm out of ideas in terms of tarot cards.
Well, you did pretty good. I'm impressed.
Well, it's because of what I heard from you in passing and such. So that's about the extent of my knowledge in tarot. And the only other thing is kind of it's supposed to my knowledge probably wrong. My knowledge is supposed to tell you what's going to happen to you or what you have coming to you.
Okay.
Which that seems a little bit obvious.
So, love that point because the way that I actually do tarot readings is I love to introduce not only my style of readings,
right.
Because there are so many different ways you can read them. It's an art, and a lot of people have different preferences on if they, how many cards they want to do in a spread, how they want to have the spreads laid out, if they do upright or reverse positions on the cards, all of that. So I will go into detail about how I do mine and then why I like doing them. But we'll start with, because you said it's about what's coming to you, right?
That's what I understand. Like I've always seen it as kind of akin to like palm reading,
right? Or
something that you would have like a mysterious woman pull you off to the side in New Orleans and be like, "I'm gonna see your future."
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever I do tarot readings, I make sure to tell all of the people I'm reading for that I cannot tell your future. So tarot's really good in my experience and how I read the cards. It's a really good way for clarity and perspective on what you have going on in that moment. It's all about the energy you bring to the reading.
Okay.
That being said, there are cards in the way that I do spreads that are specific for past, present, and future.
Okay.
What I like to say about the future card specifically is that it is just one possible path with the energy that you're bringing right now.
Okay.
So if you're getting a reading and you're like, well, I don't really like that future card, then you can look at all the other cards in your spread for context of what you need to do in order to change that path. And that being said, it's just one possible path. Not saying it's guaranteed. We also have free will. So it's not, I tell people, I will never tell you your future. I'll never tell you, an ex is coming back into your love life. Even though there are some people who, do that and they have that associated with certain cards. I'm not that practitioner.
Okay. So we would, as the empiricist in the room, I would call that a cop-out and go, okay, you're saying you've got this one card that might be right, but it might not be. But it occurred to me that we do that in social science too. We call it a confidence interval, where you make a prediction on something, you run a test on something, and it could be that, but you have a range of values where it could fall. And in that range, there's a certain percentage chance that what you see happen is for example, 95% chance that what'll happen will land within that range. Mm-hmm. So there's even room. I was going to be real shitty about it a second ago, but then I was like, you know what? We do the same thing.
Well, I also like to say, with that being said, so whenever I'm doing a reading for someone, it's all about the energy that you bring in, right? To give the person clarity and perspective on where they are at. Mm-hmm. If you are not open to tarot in general, mm-hmm. right? If your energy is so closed off, I can't read it.
Okay.
So I've had...
But a healthy skepticism is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that, just like I love in my acupuncture practice. I love it when people come in and I don't love when they like want me to sell them on it. I'm like,
yeah. Yeah.
But
I already have your money, punk.
No, well, at that point I don't. I'm like, but I'm basically like, I like it when there is some, well, with my background being in neuroscience, I love skepticism. I love science,
right.
all of that.
Right.
But I like it when someone has a little bit of where they're like, I don't know if this is true, because then whenever it hits and it's actually like every time that happens when I have someone and I don't like to make blanket statements, but it's mostly men.
Oh no, that you can make that blanket statement. Well,
I hate blanket statements.
Well, here you go. Here you want a little social science to go with that? Mm-hmm. Men are generally there's an individual difference variable called cognitive complexity. And generally speaking, men, because of the way we're socialized, mm-hmm. we have fewer categories into which we can put things. So I actually did a paper a long time ago to speak to cognitive complexity about why men have created like the friend zone and why men get, quote, friend zoned more than women. Mm-hmm. It's because women tend to have way more categories into which they can put men, from anywhere to guy whose bones they want to jump like as soon as they meet them, mm-hmm. to might as well be a lamppost. Like, you know what I mean? So okay. You have everything in between. Yeah. So, I mean, you could have friends who you're romantically interested in, friends who you're not romantically interested in, friends who, if the situation were different, you'd be romantically interested in. So there's a whole range of places where women can fall. Right. Men tend to fall, relative to women, far fewer categories. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
Trying to fuck, not attracted to them. Like, and that's an individual difference variable that they found that because of the way we're socialized. Okay. Because men are socialized to be more like exacting and say, yes, this goes here, where women are socialized to have more nuance in their thinking. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me that more men are like, I'm not sure this works. Because, look at me. Like,
well, more so in acupuncture, which we will have a whole another episode, so I won't take up too much time right now. But I love it whenever I get a husband. He's like, I don't really believe in this, but my wife told me to come here.
I'm still on the fence on acupuncture. That'll be a fun episode because I really didn't believe in it, and then I did it, and then weird stuff happened. So I'm on the fence on that one. That'll be fun.
That's my favorite, because then they're like, oh, wait.
Esketamine is going to be a fun one too, because that's the one that opened me up to this whole podcast. Yes. Yeah, Esketamine will be a good one.
I'm excited for that one too. Yeah. Okay, so back to tarot.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about tarot. We're talking about the skepticism you bring to a reading and whether or not that energy is helpful.
So in relation to that, right? You said, or I said, it's mostly men. Mm-hmm. So I have had men come in for tarot readings, mm-hmm. and they're like, I'm just here with my girlfriend and her daughters, like whatever, like. And then they have a really profound reading and they're like, whoa. Back to your main point, healthy skepticism, mm-hmm. I invite it in. Okay. Because I love it whenever I am able to break that barrier a little bit, mm-hmm. and then they have the reading. And I'm just a conduit. Like, I don't claim that I can see the future or anything like that, but mm-hmm. I just have such a love for tarot and what it can do for people. And whenever they finally start to like soften and I break through that shell like throughout the reading, and then they really like get the message that they wanted, they'll be like my best clients, because then they're telling everyone, oh my god, you have to go see, so.
Now you said something interesting a second ago that I want to ask about. You said you're only a conduit. Mm-hmm. So does tarot in your mind fall into the same category as like mediumship or something like that? Because in those cases they're considered conduits too, right? So
yes and no, it depends on how you practice it. So for me specifically, yes. Okay. The way that I practice tarot, I I got my first tarot deck like 15 years ago. I was always just fascinated with the artwork. I also knew, so it originated in Italy during the 15th century. It was like Italian Renaissance, and it started out as like playing cards.
Okay.
Right?
What does tarot mean, first of all? Like, it surprised me you said that it originated in Italy. It sounds like a French word.
So the French did it as well.
Oh,
and
okay.
What I love about the French, too, because some of the old decks, they didn't have a queen because they wanted to oppress her, but the French never did. They oppressed the king, which I freaking loved. a little tidbit.
It's also because they weren't afraid to cut the heads off their queen. They're like, yeah, put her out there. We don't give a shit.
Oh, God. Well, so it started out as a game, and then it got adopted by the occult, and then it became fortune telling, and it just evolved from there.
Now, I'm not sure if this is too in the weeds, but where did it get adopted by the occult? Was it in France or was it in the French Caribbean? Because it's big in places like New Orleans, and I don't know if tarot has a place in like voodoo, which is also related to kind of the French Caribbean, I think, if I remember right. Like Haiti is kind of where I think voodoo originated. So
there is a differentiation between voodoo and hoodoo as well.
Okay. And does that relate to tarot?
It's just another, it's like how I'm Wiccan.
Yeah.
That it's another form of practice. They might have like same principles, but there's different, and again, not an expert on this, but I know like there are some of their practices that are specifically closed practices to just them. And it's people usually of origin from where that came from. So I don't know too much about that.
So, so in terms of where tarot originated, you say Italy, you say then the French kind of adopted it.
Well, not that they adopted it. So a lot of people adopted it, not just the French.
Okay.
But where it was adopted into the occult, that I don't know specifically.
Okay.
I want to say it was still Italy, like where it became a playing game and then it became, fortune telling, but it went everywhere.
Okay. I also wonder if the Roma people had anything to do with it too, because they were all throughout Europe, and I wonder if they also picked up on it, adapted it to their needs, because it's often associated with kind of a wandering type people, and the Roma people, their religions are often pretty disparate. So I wonder if they picked up on it and then used it or adapted it, not adopted it, but adapted it to their belief structure.
So there are a lot of different tarot decks that they have like adaptations from like the other countries.
Okay.
So they all have a similar meaning, but the pictures itself have been changed where they still hold like the values, but they reflect like the other areas where they come from.
Got it. Okay.
So there's several different, even now, like I collect tarot decks. I have so many.
So I see you have a deck over here. You say there's multiple kinds of decks, but I see you brought a deck with you, which I'm very pleased to see. This one looks, let me look at it here. We got, it looks like a pretty standard deck of cards. The simplicity of the backs make me a little nervous. It makes it seem like there's something special going on in this deck here. I thought there might be more, but the backs of the cards, they're decorated with it looks like stars.
Yep.
Stars in the backs, which are it's subtly intimidating. So what do we have here? What kind of deck is this?
So this deck, this is actually I don't use this deck typically for readings. This deck is what I have at home when I do readings for myself.
Okay.
So I love the Modern Witch Tarot deck, which whenever we release this episode, I will put the name of the person who came up with that because I want to give them credit. It's one of my favorite tarot decks ever. That's what I use for when I do readings at events or at my office. But for myself, I love this deck because it's the original deck that I learned tarot on.
Okay.
So,
a quick question before we dive into this deck. Do all tarot decks have the same cards?
Yes. So they will always have 78 cards.
Okay.
There will be 22 major arcana cards and 56 minor
All right. So we're going to need to get into
that
that because I don't know what that means.
Yes.
But I was playing with the deck before we started recording. Should I cut the deck and do a 1-card reading for myself, or should we wait?
No, go ahead. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, so what happened, listener, is I cut the deck twice earlier and I pulled the same card. So if I pull the same card this time, I'm going from skeptic to believer immediately. It's going to be a really short episode. So how do you do it? You just stop where it feels right?
Yeah, it's all about intention. So wherever you feel.
All right, so let's where it feels right. All right, we're going to start at the bottom. Flip, flip, flip. Okay, this is the spot. Yep, this is the spot. Okay, so I pulled the world. On the world, we've got a naked lady with impressive rack. Not too bad. Not bad. Impressive. She's floating with a blue sash is the only thing she's wearing. She's holding what look like double-ended candles, maybe. I'm not sure what they are. And then in the 4 corners of the card, we have a lion, a bull, maybe, a bird, and a woman, which I'm guessing have something to do with the zodiac. Because the first thing I noticed was the lion, which reminds me of Leo. But you know what? You're the expert. To me, this is just a cool picture. You tell me what's going on here.
So in tarot, there are major arcanas and minor arcana. So
Okay.
There are 22 major arcana cards, and then there are 56 minor.
Oh, wait. So 22
Yes.
is the 21 at the top of my card. There's a Roman numeral 21 at the top of my card. Does that mean anything?
So you are the last, actually. So even though it's 21, the very first major arcana card is actually labeled 0.
Oh, okay. So this is important.
Yes. So you got the very last major arcana. And the difference between the major and the minor is basically the major are the heavy hitters of the tarot. So they are very significant. Not saying that the others aren't, but they, like if you look, I think they used to be called trump cards. Like they...
Boo.
Well,
Oh, we just lost Alabama. Sorry.
Yep. Politics aside.
Politics aside.
But boo.
We just lost all. We lost the Wiccan community in Mississippi. Actually, there probably is a pretty decent Mississippi, but
so they're trump cards, meaning they one up. They're heavy hitters, like I said. So the minor arcana are 4 suits. And then they equal the other 56 out of the 22. So,
can I guess the suits? Because I've seen some.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm jumping in here.
No, go ahead.
I'm not annoying the witch, am I?
No.
Okay.
The witch will let you proceed.
No, I said 6 of swords. Swords.
Okay.
Swords is 1. Swords. Yes. Cups. I've seen cups. There's cups. Swords. There's cups. There's not lances. That's not a thing.
No.
No. Am I close? No.
No.
Okay. Swords, cups. Give me a hint.
Well, maybe you're close in a sense.
You're just being nice. Okay, what are the other 2?
Wands.
Wands. Oh, is she holding wands? Is that what those are?
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
The wands are depicted. They look like wood.
These look.
Made out of wood.
Oh, okay. These look like batons. A little bit.
Or double-sided candles. I actually don't know what she's holding.
They look like dildos.
And
Very unsatisfying dildos, but dildos nonetheless.
Sorry.
The last one I know, because we've talked about it, is a word that I can't remember.
Pentacles.
Pentacles.
Yes.
Okay, pentacles.
Yes. Which we talked about in our Yule episode.
Pentacles. Pent meaning 5. Tacle meaning point.
Right, so it looks like the pentagram.
Oh, okay. I was say 5 pentacle. Yeah, 5. Look at that.
So the pentacles, they look like coins, but they have the pentagram in the middle.
So I studied it for the GRE. I know my Greek and Latin prefixes and suffixes.
Look at you.
Yep.
So you have the world. So this being the last of the major arcana, like I said, tarot is a story. So this is the end of the story. So it's everything coming into fruition. So she's encircled by this wreath, circular, meaning everything comes back around. It's fulfillment. And then she has these 4 symbols that represent the 4 different elements and also correlate to the zodiac signs. So you have the lion, Leo,
Sure.
which is fire. You have the bull or Taurus, which is earth. You have, this is actually a man, and they represent
Sagittarius?
No, because Sagittarius is a fire.
Aquarius?
Aquarius.
Yeah.
That is the air element.
He looks like he might have been in Jesus Christ Superstar, so that tracks. Age of Aquarius is a song now, right? Right? I'm not making that up? Okay.
And then you have the eagle, which this one I don't understand. So the eagle represents Scorpio, which is a water sign.
Okay.
I would think that the eagle would represent air because it flies. So that, I don't know.
Okay, but there's something going on in this card. Again, coming in as the empiricist and knowing a little bit about the history of the last 3,000 years and not knowing about the zodiac, this evokes the imagery of the book of Revelation in the Bible. And I'm not religious, but I do know that there are certain themes in the book of Revelation. Number one, the winds are released from the four corners of the world, and it looks like these four characters are, everything looks very windy, and it's not just the air sign. Everything looks very windy. And I also know, although she's not holding trumpets, that every time a new seal was broken during the book of Revelation to end the world during the apocalypse, there was a horn blown. These aren't horns. I would love to know what she's holding here. But this really does, it speaks to the imagery related to the book of Revelation to me. And if tarot was invented in the 1500s, 1600s, or was created in the 1500s, 1600s, in Italy, I mean, come on. In Italy, in the 1500s, you're at the height of like the papacy and things that are affecting culture in Italy. So it wouldn't surprise me if the World card, being the last major arcana in the deck, was affected, or the imagery was affected by the last major book of the Bible, the last book of the Bible, the New Testament.
So I would say that makes so much sense, but if you looked at the Judgment card, I think we would have a different conversation.
It looks, that's very much end of the world.
To me, it is, yes.
Is the Judgment card a major arcana?
Yes.
So I wonder how much these overlap with books of the Bible. I'd be curious about that. Like, I wonder if, for example, I guess I was going to say the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, but I think that was in the book of Exodus. That's the Old Testament. Who the fuck knows?
See, I was going to say, I blacked out in a lot of my Bible school, so
I can name like 4 books of the Bible, and Revelation and Exodus are 2 of them. So I'm 50% done my biblical knowledge.
Yeah, the Book of Revelations traumatized me,
my God.
So I suppressed a lot.
That's
of
the
that.
only one that I enjoyed reading because it was actually interesting. Everything else was this person begat this person, this person begat this person, and then it was like, oh, the world's ending. I'm like, all right, here we go, finally, about time.
Trumpet sounding, yeah. So on the Judgment card, there's actually people looking up to the sky, and then there's an angel coming through the clouds sounding trumpets.
Then yeah, okay, so there you go. Yeah. All right, so but this card, it's weird. It signifies to me, it evokes revelation, but it feels good. It feels like a good card.
Yeah. So this card being the end, and like I said with the wreath, like the oval, it's continuous.
It starts back over. It feels like
you're recognizing and honoring the past while also embracing and rejoicing for where you are now.
Something I find interesting about this, and we'll get into this maybe in a bit, as we talk about tarot more generally, it strikes me that there's not one symbol in these cards that's an accident. Like that's meant. Everything in the cards is meant to signify something. So in this card, for example, we talked about the 4 corners and we talked about the wreath, but and I don't know how to interpret it, but at the top and the bottom of the wreath, you have red ties around the wreath. And it strikes me as that's not just an accident, that probably means something too. Well,
it's serving as connecting everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so this card, it's all about, like I said, like it's the end of the journey.
Okay.
It's connecting past with present and looking forward to future.
Okay.
And I will say, so when it comes to learning tarot, the way that I learned it, so like I said, I bought my first deck 15 years ago. I was always drawn to it, loved it. I didn't know how to do it. So I had a couple tarot readings and I was told like, well, this is basically how you do it. And they would try to tell me like different spreads. And like I said, everyone practices differently and there's different decks that you can use. So it's really about what you feel drawn to. And I found this deck. I liked that it was called the Guided Tarot because I wanted to have someone, like, it was an Audible book. So I literally just listened to it on my long commute to acupuncture school. And I just pretty much absorbed everything that she said. And then what I would do is I would wake up in the morning and I would, do like my little meditation time, my journaling time, and I would pull 4 tarot cards. And without even looking at the meaning of them, I would write down what I got just based off of the imagery.
Almost like journaling, but interpreting the cards without knowing what they're supposed to mean. Okay.
So it was all about what came to me intuitively about the card itself. And then after I did that, I looked in the book of what the original meaning of the card meant.
So, okay, wait. I want to stop there for a second and bring in social science to this.
Okay.
So, you were doing journaling.
Yes.
Were you typing or were you writing?
Writing.
Okay.
Always.
So there's a researcher named Pennebaker, James Pennebaker, big influence on my work on my master's degree, who said that the way you interpret the world around you, and actually, I'm going to step back. His major thing was that journaling is actually healthy. It's a way for you to unload without like a therapist. And he said that he found, I'm not saying he said, he ran experiments and showed that putting pen to paper relative to speaking or relative to typing is actually cathartic. So, and like people felt less stressed after they put pen to paper about things. So interpreting a work of art on a tarot card or on a canvas at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and then interpreting it and applying it to their life, it would achieve 2 things. Number 1, it would show what was going on in their life at that time. And number 2, it would allow them to kind of turn the release valve to let off some pressure. So Pennebaker's work speaks to this in saying, okay, you look at this card, you interpret it the way you want, and then you put pen to paper about it. There actually is a psychological benefit to that. Yeah.
So I have always been the type to journal. And like since I was 6 years old, I have all of my journals.
I would love to see Becca's 7-year-old journal.
I lost the first 2 because my parents, when they first went to prison, but we won't get into that.
We'll get into that. We should. That'll be the bonus episodes on Patreon. We'll talk about the backgrounds. But I actually, speaking about that, I do wish I still had access to my like early 20s journals.
Yeah, I still have those. I have the first one I have is from, I think it was my sophomore year of high school, and I still kept all of them. So I would always, there was something about actually putting pen to paper, and I felt like it was taking everything that was running around in my brain constantly 24/7, taking it out and actually putting it onto paper and giving me some sort of relief.
Well, so Pennebaker found that people who they actually write, having like a physical activity, not typing, like, because you could type something and you could write something. And they found that actually writing something is, there's 2 reasons it's good. Number 1, it's because it gives you a physical activity to release the tension that you're feeling in a way that expresses whatever it is you're feeling. And number 2, writing takes time more than typing. So you have to sit and think as you write. Like you can't just, because I can type 100 words a minute. So I could type a journal entry that's 1,000 words in 10, 15 minutes. But to write something, you have to take the time to reflect on it. So if you're looking at this tarot card or any tarot card when you're doing your self-reading, it would make sense that you have to really go inside to recognize what it means.
Yeah. And I make sure that I'm like in a meditative space. Like I put on music. I have no screens, like nothing. It's because I really wanted it to be where it was like 100% intuitive. Right. So I did that to develop a relationship with the cards. And then I went and looked at the original meanings, and then I compared the two.
Mm-hmm.
So now whenever I do a tarot reading, I know the original meaning of the card, but now I know that I have this other special relationship with the card. So when that card pops up in the reading, I know why, if that makes sense.
It does. So let me propose another experiment here.
Mm-hmm.
Can I pull another card?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, put the deck back the way that it was, to flip so the world is going back into the deck. I'm going to let Becca shuffle here, and I'm going to cut the deck and pick a card and then interpret it as to what I think it means.
Okay.
And then you tell me what it means in the context of your knowledge related to tarot. Like, what does it typically mean? Is my analysis anywhere close to what it's supposed to be?
Love that.
Again, it's what feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I usually go farther up. I like this one. Get the fuck out of here! I'm not even okay. So no, we can't. We're not joking. No, we're not. Okay.
This is amazing.
This sounds all right. So it's very, very easy to make it seem like we're making this up, but I absolutely promise, listener, we're not making this up. I just pulled the world card.
For all of you tarot readers out there, you know how comical this is.
We're not making this up. Like, I promise. Like, I'm full of shit most of the time, but I'm not full of shit right now. I just pulled the world card again. All right, so I guess I'll interpret the world.
Well, we talked about it pretty in depth.
We did. I feel like that means that I'm not supposed to dive too deep into it.
I think you. Well, one, I think it's absolutely hilarious that you got both, because whenever
that's 1 in 78. Is that
yes.
78? Yeah. So that's like a 1.14% chance, give or take, something like that.
So not likely. And
not likely.
Whenever I do readings for myself and I pull a card, I'm like, no, maybe like that doesn't really feel right. Or
that's fucking
I don't really want to know.
That's fucking ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
And you
Becca.
get the same cards, they jump out. So that is why this shit works, because when I said conduit earlier, you are channeling the universe, the forces that are outside of us that are greater than we are, and we are asking for messages to give us clarity and perspective on where we are at now. And you try to maybe get a different message, but they're trying to hit you over the head with the one.
And what's funny is when I pulled that card, it's weird. So when I cut a deck, when I'm playing cards with my friends, like I play poker, I enjoy poker, or whenever I cut a deck, I don't like cutting a deck too early. So I usually cut toward the middle or toward the top.
Mm-hmm.
That time I cut the deck maybe a third of the way up, and I was like, okay, that's about right. And there's them titties again, right there. there they are. There's that rack facing me, and the lion looking at me, and the ram judging me, and the eagle judging me. And then you got the Age of Aquarius in the corner. He's not looking at anything. He's trying to fuck the eagle from what it looks like.
But that's intuition.
That's crazy. That's nuts. That's weird.
It's not weird.
I will say,
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as the academic, that's interesting. It's a 1.25 or one. It's somewhere. I can't do the math in my head. But it's somewhere between 1.15 and 1.35% chance. It's not zero, but that's still nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's called the forces outside of us.
Yeah. All right. So we did the one card reading. What else do I need to know about tarot?
So I'll go into how I do readings. So whenever I do them, I actually have the person I'm reading for shuffle the deck, because I like it where it's entirely their energy on the cards.
Okay.
That's just a personal preference.
And you're going to do a reading for me.
I am.
You're going to do a reading for me. So I think we might need to bring down my beautiful wife to join us. So, because my reasoning being, as the skeptic in the room, I might be biased in how I interpret what you pull.
Okay.
So we'll bring in a third party who knows me sometimes better than I know myself to interpret the cards that come out in my reading.
All right.
Sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So we're going to pause here. We're going to go get Brooke after my darling daughter goes down to bed, who's been singing upstairs for the last hour.
She has.
Yeah. but we'll be back in a moment with my darling wife.
All right, so now we are back with Kurt and Brooke.
My wife.
Kurt's darling wife.
My betrothed. Also, my dog. You're going to hear him tip-tapping around, too.
Yes, tippy-tappies. So Brooke will be here to help validate part of Kurt's reading if he doesn't remember some things.
I remember plenty. I remember I pulled the world twice.
Yes, but this will just be another person
Mm-hmm.
to help interpret the reading.
Yeah, and to offer her own interpretation based on what she knows about me.
Yes. So before we even get into the reading, we will ask Brooke to tell her experience of tarot.
Yeah.
I was also kind of a skeptic as well. And, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, what can really come from cards? Like, what can it really say about my future or past or present, really? But at the same time, it's all about who is reading them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm full on. How can these cards say anything about anybody?
Yeah, like we went to New Orleans and I got my tarot reading,
You did
and
not
she
like
was
it.
horrible.
Why was she? Okay, so that begs the question: why was she horrible?
It's kind of like she was just doing everything half-assed. Like, she obviously didn't know me from Adam, but at the same time, she was reading the cards like, you should have this in your future, and you're going to meet this guy. And I'm like, yeah, no.
But
None
what
of that
is
is
can
true.
you say what she said? You're going to meet this guy. Like, can you give detail? Or are you not supposed to?
Oh, it's not that I'm not supposed to. It's just, it wasn't, like, in depth. It was just more surface level. Like, she's just guessing, like, okay, she's probably in her 20s or 30s, whatever, and she's probably dating some guy, or she's married, or, you know what I mean? Like, she kind of narrows it down. It's kind of like saying, I'm thinking of an S name, like, you know what I mean? Stupid shit like that.
And yet you believe those people, too.
I don't believe that. I didn't believe her. As I said, there's people that are actually, you can take seriously about the topic, and there's others that are just like, this is just trying to make some money.
She was like Carnival Ride.
Correct.
So, Brooke, would you say that you didn't really enjoy the reading in New Orleans, like, based off of your intuition? Or, like, what gave you the inclination that it wasn't resonating with you?
It just felt fake. It felt forced. I'm like, yes, I know I paid for it. Like, I get that. I get what I paid for. But it didn't feel genuine.
Okay.
Basically, I don't know. I guess just reading people in general, I pick up on the vibes, and I'm just like, this lady's full of shit.
Right. So that sounds to me like it was your intuition. Like, it just didn't sit well with you. It didn't feel like it was meant for you.
No. And she did, like, palm reading, and that didn't tell me shit either.
Were you going in for the tarot or for the palm reading? Was it one or the other that you went in for?
I think I went for both, really.
Because I remember you went in, I was outside for like 45 minutes kicking rocks, like waiting.
I literally was just rolling my eyes the whole time. It was really
It was outside Preservation Hall, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, so...
Also, you're going to New Orleans, you would expect something better than that, is what I was really annoyed with.
You go to New Orleans, you expect the tourist version.
Yes, I agree. But, like, unless you're going off the beaten path.
Yeah, and we were near Bourbon Street, so...
you're right.
It's kind of like being on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
But
That's why I never go to them.
I will say, devil's advocate, in Salem, there are, it's a very touristy area, but there are legit practitioners there that are giving readings. So I really just think, you have to go with your intuition, your gut. If you feel like this person is, reading for you and it's resonating with you, then you take what you want. But, that being said, when I was talking about how I read for people, I always give them like a little disclaimer in the beginning of how I am going to read them, like what I'm going to do with the cards. I always say, like, okay, we talked a little bit earlier in the episode about how I say I want the person to shuffle the cards themselves. Mm-hmm. I want their energy on the deck, and then they pull the cards, and I will tell them the position, what the card means, whether it's introverted, or not extroverted.
Inverted? I'm guessing.
Inverted.
So-
Or like if it's upright or reversed, I'll go through all of that with them. So we want to give Kurt a reading tonight. So I typically do a 7-card reading. We can do that now.
Let's do what you do most regularly, what you're most comfortable with.
I love doing 7. So there are so many different types of tarot spreads that you can do. The position of the cards, how many cards you do. Like one of the common things is the Celtic cross, which is either 9 or 10, like depending on where you read it. But I love doing 7.
Okay. 7 it is. I'm giggling over here because I'm seeing my wife's pajamas. Like
You just saw them?
No, I saw them before. We might even cut this, but I mean, we as well know the listener. Let the listener know what's going on. Like we have a French bulldog who's making all the noise in the background, and Brooke has French bulldog pajamas,
and they're all Christmas themed.
Yeah, and
First thing I noticed,
and
when
I
you came
saw one with a
downstairs.
hat on with the tongue out, and it was making me laugh. So I'll try not to laugh in the middle of it. Yeah. Okay, so let's do 7, and let's do whatever spread you're most comfortable with, whatever you've done the most.
All right, so before I do any reading, I cleanse the deck. So,
And we talked about this.
yes, off record. So, the way that I cleanse a deck, there are several different ways as well, but I prefer lighting an incense and then just letting the smoke go around the deck. And so in Wicca, we do like the rule of 3. So any number of 3. So I always do 9. And I will just...
Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hand the incense, which I believe what we say was frankincense.
Yes.
All right. So Becca has the deck. I am giving her the frankincense stick, and to cleanse the deck, she's going to, I don't know, honestly.
Clockwise, 9 times.
I don't know. Maybe go around a couple times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with like the rule of 3, I always do like 9.
Sure.
And everything. Whenever I cleanse my altar, my deck, like myself, I do 9 rotations. So for cleansing my tarot deck, I take the incense and I just go around 9
1,
times.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So the incense stick went around the deck 9 times, and then I think there's a knock involved, maybe.
Yes. So even though that is sufficient, I just love knocking 3 times because it's like knocking off the excess.
Okay.
And that's just a way that I was taught, a way that I like. Like I said, it's a practice. Everyone does their own things. So now that this is cleansed, I will have you shuffle the cards.
So I'll be honest. We had some audio problems, and I shuffled before. I feel good just cutting the deck once, twice. Cut it into thirds. Yeah, 3 times a lady, Brooke says.
Perfect. So now I want you to pick 7 cards. And what I will do is I will tell you where to place them.
Okay.
And we're going to keep them face down.
Any 7.
Yes.
From anywhere
you
in
can
the
pick
deck.
From anywhere in the deck.
All right, so I'm going to cut. Face down, you said.
Mm-hmm.
That feels good.
All right, last one.
The world is definitely in there somewhere. I know it's popping up. All right, there you go.
All right.
Okay, 7 cards. There are 7 cards. There's one which I would say is at the head. Then you have a row of 4, and then a row of 2 at the bottom with the 2 cards underneath the first and the third cards in the second row.
Yes. So the way that we do this, so we have a small space, but these 2 are off to themselves. So this card actually represents the overall theme of your reading.
Okay, so this one's to the upper left of me.
Yes.
Second row, all the way to the left.
And then the bottom
Okay, bottom left. Bottom row, third row, all the way to the left.
represents your energy right now.
Okay.
Okay, so those are kind of off to the side. So those are 2. And then the main 5, right? You have 3 in the middle, 1 above, and 1 below.
Oh, and this one's like a cross. This is like a cross, I
Yes.
see. Okay, so you got 5 cards. One at the top, one at the bottom, one on the left, one on the right, and then one in the middle. Almost like north, south, east, west with one right in the middle.
Yes. So the top represents your overseeing energy.
Okay.
The bottom represents your supportive energy.
Okay.
And then traditionally, the 3 in the middle are past, present, and future.
Okay. All right.
But what I have seen sometimes in readings, these 3, past, present, future, might just represent 3 things going on right now.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be past, present, future, but the way that I do it is I read it as such. So I like to go through the whole reading, tell you the meaning of the card, the energy of that card in the position that it's in.
Okay. That's definitely frankincense, by the way.
Yeah. And then also, explain the upright or reverse meaning. And then after that, I ask you, okay, do these resonate? If they don't, if there's something that you're not quite sure about, like how it fits, we pull more cards, and those are clarifying cards.
Okay.
But when I do a reading, I open myself up, like we said, conduit earlier.
Sure.
I make sure that I am open to whatever's going to come through. Mm-hmm. And if there are any sayings or any imagery, I let you know, and you take what resonates, leave the rest, and we'll see what fits.
Sounds good.
All right, so...
Question, is there like an order that you read it in?
Yes. So the order that I like to read them in is I like to do overall theme, and then I go to the person who I'm reading their energy, and then I do overseeing, supportive, past, present, future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I flip them all over at once, so if I do see like a common theme, I'll sometimes like hop around, but for 90% of the time, that's how I read the cards.
Okay, and wait, don't pick it up yet.
Okay.
I am going to take a picture of the layout, and we'll attach this to the episode notes so you can see the way they're laid out.
Awesome. All right. So I will flip them over. Oof.
Oh, is that not good? You said oof.
Like I said.
The page.
No, there are never any negative cards.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I know. I have no idea what the fuck to make of any of this. There's a lot of stuff going on.
All right.
I was really hoping that the middle would be all knights. That'd be gangster, but okay.
Well, you got 2.
I did get 2. Okay.
So we'll start with your overall theme, which is the 8 of Cups in reverse. So the 8 of Cups is the water element. It's love and emotion. And the 8 of Cups, the tarot card itself, features, you see the 8 cups, you have the moon in the background, and then you have a man walking away in the background, right? So this card, when it's upright, it's representative of walking away from a situation that no longer serves you. Mm-hmm. Whenever it's in reverse, it's having difficulty walking away from that situation.
Ah, okay.
So that's your overall theme. And even though overall theme is vague, what I like to do is we leave that.
Okay.
Right? Contemplate that, and then we'll get the context from everywhere else.
Okay.
So then that brings us to you. Your energy right now, you have the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So Pentacles is the earth element, and 3 in the tarot, it's expansion.
Okay.
So this card itself represents like contracts, and like contracts in the sense of like business. Like,
okay,
you are expanding your business, or stuff like that.
Okay.
Whenever
Brooke's nodding, by the way.
Sorry.
I'll do the play-by-play as to what's going on in the room. Yes. Sully's still being a dick and sniffing everything, but Brooke's nodding. He's fine. He's just sniffing stuff.
So when this card is in reverse, sometimes it's like, it could mean...
Gonna go broke?
No. It could mean if you're waiting on like an opportunity, like a promotion, like a way to expand your career. When it's in reverse, it's not happening on your timeline. Like, you don't feel that it's happening, or you are not. So because the 3 is expansion, you feel like in your career right now, you are not able to expand the way that you want to.
Totally fair.
Okay.
Totally
very
fair.
true.
Brooke, nod some more.
I said very true.
No mentioning names or anything.
I'm not. I wasn't going to.
Okay, good.
So then we
Interdasting.
we move to your overseeing energy. So this position, I like to refer to it as basically your spirit team.
Okay.
Because it's overseeing.
Okay.
So this represents heaven, and then your supportive position represents earth. This is people who are earth side. This is your spirit team, people who are not here physically. So this is a message from your spirit team, and it is the King of Pentacles in reverse. So kings are the masters of their suits. So if you are the master of the pentacles, which is the earth element, and it is the tangible things in life, and it's, the earth element, which is stability and hearth and, like grounding. This is someone who has mastered those aspects. When it's in reverse, in this position, your spirit team is basically telling you that you are not doing enough in your life to help you feel grounded and it's financially stable, feeling...
Brooke's making a funny face.
Well, because Pentacles is the tangible things, a lot of times the Pentacles can relate to actual finance.
So here's a question then. Is the spirit team, are they omniscient? Do they absolutely know? Or is it based on the spirit team's perspectives when they were alive? You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
is the spirit team know what they're talking about? Or is it based on what they would know when they were around?
So when you say spirit team, it can mean many different things. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean people who you knew that passed on. Mm-hmm. Whenever I think of spirit team personally, it's like your guardian angels and just people who are your spirit guides, not necessarily people... It could
Hey, Sully.
It could be people who have been here that have passed on, but it's not as the reading.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
So this is just people who are guiding you on your path to where you're meant to be, and they are saying you need to do things that make you feel more grounded and financially stable and like solid in your roots.
Okay.
Like your base, your foundation, your home, your hearth, right? Mm-hmm. When it's in reverse, there are things that's making you feel not grounded.
Sure.
So they're just asking you to look at that.
Okay. Right? Okay.
So then we'll go to your supportive energy. So this is the Page of Cups in reverse. So pages are actually messengers of the tarot. So they bring something in. Right?
Okay.
Cups is, like we talked about with the Eight of Cups, it's the water element. It's love and emotion. And a lot of times when this is upright, as the Page of Cups, it's bringing in a message of love and emotion, right? So this would be one of those cards where the tarot readers are like, oh, a new love is coming in, or
something I should know.
It was upside down, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
It was upside down.
I always say.
My wife just grimaced at me. No. It was upside down.
I always tell people I read tarot for, I will never tell you that an ex is coming back into your life or a new love. Like, I never.
But that's what they do on Bourbon
That's
Street.
what the New Orleans thing was.
Yeah. Did you get an ex coming back?
Yeah.
Did an ex come back?
No.
Should I beat his ass?
No.
My
This
fault.
is also how many years ago?
I'll beat their ass. I don't care.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, so this Page of Cups in your supportive position is in reverse. So the supportive position I think of, as I said, is earth side, right? So overseeing is heaven, supportive is earth. So these are people who are physically here in your support team.
My betrothed across the table.
And I don't think it represents birth, though, because it's a page. Pages are messengers, but they're also like novice energy. So this basically represents like someone in your support system who brings you, because it's the cups, it's that love and emotion. So someone who gives you support emotionally, and maybe you have been waiting for a message or like something to happen in that area, and it's just not happening on your timeline.
I'm taking it as like work related, like a colleague or something.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that's like this over here will get I'm laughing because Solly's in the background making every noise. My dog's in the background making every noise. Meanwhile, he's the reincarnated soul of every person I ever knew. Anyway, over here, what was this card?
Three of Pentacles.
The Three of Pentacles. I know that, but like, what was it meant to signify?
That's like contracts and expansion and work.
So there are a couple of things that I've applied for grant-wise in my work that it's not on my timeline. I have to wait until I hear back from them. And that's not for a couple months yet, and that's very unsatisfying. So I'm waiting probably for the next several months to see whether or not they come through. If they come through, it's super good news. If I get these, it's like nationally renowned type things. So I'm sitting there waiting for that.
And that's what, when it's in reverse, that's what it means.
Yeah. So I wonder if the Page of Cups is the messenger that's going to bring that news, whoever it might be, a colleague or somebody I know in the field or whatever, who I don't know.
And it's just not happening.
Not yet.
When you want it to.
Not on my timeline. Yeah, I'd rather it happen sooner rather than later, but it's not till the spring. It's still several months out.
Right. So that's what I meant by like differing between, because it's cups, which is the water element. It's love and emotion. I shouldn't say a lot of, I don't like the blanket statements like I said earlier, but sometimes even I have experienced where people will see like the Page of Cups or the Knight of Cups and they're like, oh, a love interest is coming in. I don't think it's as pigeonholed as that.
Well, it's gotten dry.
Yeah. It's, cups is that emotion, that love. It's whatever fills your cup. So that doesn't necessarily mean love. It could be something that emotionally just gives you joy and like fills your heart. So if that's what your work does for you.
Well, this specifically would, because the thing that I've applied for in terms of funding would be a research project that's important to me specifically. That'd be great. But it's interesting you mentioned the Knight of Cups, because there he is.
That too. Well, that had something to do with the King of Pentacles. Let's talk about financials.
Well, the King of Pentacles, if I remember right, was more of like your spirit team.
Yeah, they're basically, so the King of Pentacles in reverse in your overseeing position is your spirit team acknowledging that there are some things that are making you not feel as grounded or mastering of finances, whatever, and just recognize that.
Sure.
And then we go past, present, future.
Yep.
And you basically take into context everything else in the reading, and that's what will help you acknowledge and tackle what your spirit team is telling you.
Yeah, so we have in the past, present, future, I have the Knight of Cups in the past, the Knight of Pentacles inverted in the present, and the Seven of Swords, which is pretty close to six. Six of Swords is bad, right? Well, not necessarily. There's no good or bad cards. Okay, we'll go on. Go with the past, present, future.
All right, so, and like I said earlier, I have read where it's past, present, future, but also it could just be three things fitting like right now.
Sure.
I usually, once I get to the point where I read past, present, future, I can tell like if it actually is three things now or vice versa. So this actually feels like it's past, present, future.
Okay.
So the Knight of Cups is your past. So knights, they go on quests and they bring these things back, and so this knight in particular, the Knight of Cups, is bringing back this gift of love and emotion, right? What I love about this knight, so there are 4 suits in the minor arcana, and this knight in particular, so the horse is moving, but like not that much. This doesn't look like a knight who is like really...
He's on a rush.
Right. Which, the Knight of Swords, he's coming in hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, Knight of Cups, not so much. He's moving. The Knight of Pentacles is like not moving at all.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Yeah. So, it's... In the past, it's like kind of going on your own pace, like nothing too crazy, but it's something comes in where it just fills you. It fills your cup. It fills your heart.
Speak up. You're over there. Speak up. My wife's over there being shy. Go ahead. Jump in.
I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose a lot of information.
But you need to move into the mic.
Anyway.
You are here to validate.
Yeah, so I'm validating that card in example for past because... Not trying to burst your bubble, but it took Kurt a while for us to,
Don't burst my bubble, I know.
Become serious, have a relationship, get engaged, the whole nine. So it makes perfect sense to me why it would just kind of be steady.
Did you... I usually don't ask questions mid-reading. Maybe I'll wait.
The world's not going to blow up. You can go ahead.
Yeah, really.
The world will be fine. The sun's going to come up tomorrow.
Well, I always tell people I don't want to ask any questions. I want to go through the reading, and then I will ask questions, because I want to know as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Oh, they're not supposed to say anything then?
No. You got. You're here to validate and jump in.
Yeah.
And you're here to give context.
Okay.
So, with this being in your past, right? I won't ask questions yet. We'll wait to the end. But this would be something coming in... And instead of it being a messenger, like the page, right, where it's just something, this is a knight where he literally went on a quest. He went through a lot of shit, and then he brings in something. So it's basically you went through a lot, and then someone comes in, and it's because it's the cups, it's something that filled your cup with love and emotion.
Well, I put this one through a lot.
I'm shaking my head, but it's not like it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it was arduous, but I would also argue that most couples would say the same thing. Something special, special for us, but not special as in it's unique.
Well, it took a long journey to get here. That's all.
Of course,
and that's what that card represents to me.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a quest, right? So then you move to your present, and you have another knight.
I know. Look at him. But he looks chill. He's just hanging out.
That's why. So when I was talking about the knight,
it's also not lost on me that the Knight of Pentacles is a black horse, the Knight of Cups is a white horse. That to me means different things. Again, giving you a little bit of a kind of a not scientific, I guess, historical background. There used to be. I don't even know if it's true, but there's a rumor that when you see a statue of somebody on a horse, if like one leg of the horse is up, it means he was wounded in battle. If they're up, it means he was killed in battle. So I don't know if that's necessarily true, but like there used to be this thing where depending on what the horse is doing, it gives you some idea about what went on with the rider at that time. So there's the fact that the Knight of Cups is white, number one, and has one leg up, and the Knight of Pentacles is a horse in black, which is no legs up. I think that's probably something worth looking into.
Yeah.
Because it means different things other than motion.
Ooh, I would actually like to look into that. So, well, with what I love about the Knight of Pentacles, which I had mentioned, like there's 4 knights, right? So, Knight of Cups, the leg is up. Knight of Pentacles, he's chilling.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's in a rush. He's got his pentacle, he's chilling out.
So, with the Knight of Pentacles being in reverse, when it's upright, it's like it represents patience and, honoring the timeline of what you need to do. And whenever it's in reverse, it's feeling impatient. And again, kind of like how the 3 of Pentacles that you have in reverse, like it's just not happening. That's in your present. And then, all right, so when we move to your future position, like I said earlier, I cannot predict your future. This is just one possible path.
I hope not. This guy looks overwhelmed.
So this is one possible path for your future. And, you have free will. You can decide your own future. So this is just one thing to reflect on.
This dude looks like a clown. He looks like he's overwhelmed and he doesn't know what to do with all the swords he's got.
So your future is a Seven of Swords, which is actually the thief of the tarot.
That's why he looks overwhelmed.
So whenever like I said, there are no negative cards, right? But the thief of the tarot, like no one wants to hear that in their reading. So usually what I say is, all right, if this is especially in your future position, you need to take into context everything else and see what that means in regards to this. So the Seven of Swords being the thief, you could either feel robbed by someone in your life.
Brooke? No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
At your job, in a relationship, or you could literally be robbing yourself, like self-sabotaging.
Okay.
So that's what that could mean. So with that being your future, in context with everything else, with your Eight of Cups in reverse as your overall theme, it's like trouble letting go of something, like saying goodbye. So whatever is inhibiting you, once you figure out what that is and you let it go, everything else that's in reverse, where it's like just waiting for this timeline, it will actually start having a forward momentum.
Well, there's a lot that goes on that seems to be mentioned here that has to do with things that like I've applied for, I'm waiting on, all these other things. So I wonder if these come through, the things at the Three of Pentacles over here in the what represent me lower left corner. I feel like if they come through, shit looks good. But I don't know how that jives with the Seven of Swords.
So
yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
If there is... So with this usually relates to work.
Yeah.
Contracts.
Which tracks.
Right?
That tracks. Heavy. Brooke knows.
Yeah.
So if there... And you have these two knights, and you have a page. It's all about, like, stuff coming in. Right?
Come on.
You have
things coming in.
You have all of these in reverse. So it's like stuff is just not happening when you expect it to. It's not happening on your timeline, right? So
The life of the academic.
If that continues, your future, it would be feeling robbed.
That tracks. That tracks. There's a lot that goes on in the world that I work in where if you don't get what you've applied for, there's a lot of favoritism and you feel as though you're robbed of certain opportunities you could have otherwise. So that kind of tracks a little bit.
So if you want to clarify for your skepticism, what I love to do for people I read for, I ask them at the end, like if they have any questions or if there are any cards that they feel don't really fit, we pull another card from anywhere in the deck, and that is a clarifier card.
There is one that does not fit, or at least it doesn't feel like it fits.
Which one?
King of Pentacles, which is a big one, but it feels wrong. The other ones feel okay, but King of Pentacles feels wrong. I don't know why.
You don't know why?
I don't know why. It just feels overwrought. I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't belong there.
All right. So then we pull.
Tell me when to stop, bro.
No.
No?
No, it's just you, yeah.
All right. There you go.
Man with the cups.
More cups. 4 of cups.
All right. So.
That's your common themes, cups.
Trying to bring that shit in.
4 of
That
cups.
fart is giving him something. There's a cloud giving a guy... He looks impatient under a tree. Looks like the cloud is giving him a cup. The 4th cup.
So he is sitting under this tree and he looks, not happy. And he's staring at these 3 cups in front of him. And that's what he's focusing on. But on the side, there is this little cloud, which represents the hand of God.
Oh, okay.
Giving him another cup, but he does not notice it because he is focused on the 3 cups in front of him. So when the 4 of cups is in reverse, so upright, it means like you're focusing on the things that you are lacking or like things in your life that aren't fulfilling you.
Right.
And meanwhile, everything outside of you, like you believe in your higher power, the universe, whatever. They're trying to give you signs for opportunities, and they're trying to give you perspective, but you can't even see that because you are focused on what is lacking.
That feels better than the King of Pentacles. That feels like it tracks better.
Well, it's just clarifying the King of Pentacles. So,
oh, I got you.
The King of Pentacles, he is the master of his suit. He is someone who is grounded, financially stable, like feels very solid in his foundation. And, you know, it's the earth element. It's just like, it's, you know, having hearth and home and like...
which is tattooed across my back.
Right? When it's in reverse, it's not feeling that. There's like something lacking. It's not feeling stable, right? Or it's giving too much of your finances. And whenever this, as a clarifier in reverse, it's just you, your spirit team is telling you, you are focusing on the lack so much that if you switch your vibration to where you are actually focusing on what you have, you not only will feel mentally better, right? But you are putting out that higher vibration, so you are attracting more in.
That tracks. I mean, yeah, that makes sense even just scientifically. People feel better when they focus on what they have rather than what they don't.
Well, my perspective is that you're always looking to the future. Like, you want to own like $1 million home. You want to own all these good like things in life. And I'm always saying, "But look what we already have." Keeping you in the present. But it doesn't mean you can't dream.
True.
On the future.
True. That is true. That is very true. And I do want awesome stuff.
I think everyone wants awesome stuff.
Yeah, but I really want awesome stuff. I want it more than other people want awesome stuff.
Well,
it is true though. It's a good lesson, and even just it's based on social science too. It's called a gain frame versus a loss framed message. People when they're presented with messages that show them what they have, there are two types of ways you can present something. You can present something to somebody and say, "You have 4 things," or you can say, "You don't have 6 things out of 10." And they show, I mean, it's saying the same thing, but when you present it as you have 4 things, people are happier. They're more satisfied with what they got. So it's a very, I mean, it's based in social science.
Half full or half empty kind of thing.
But I mean, people use that as like a philosophical question.
Yeah.
Like people talk about the glass like it's completely philosophy, but it's not. It's based on our brains. Like the way that we process information, we process gain frame messages very differently than loss frame messages. Like there's a whole branch of communication research about how you get people to do things like screen for mammograms or get checked for skin cancer. And they find that the way to do it isn't to say that if you don't do it, you're going to get cancer. It's to say if you do it, you're going to prevent yourself from getting cancer. It's saying the same thing. But if you give it a gain frame message, people are more likely to do it because they're more drawn toward gain frame messages.
well, I'll say.
Yeah.
I'm the academic. I'm supposed to bring that shit in.
So as the alchemist, when it comes to energy and what you are emitting, well, we can even go to Newton's law, like equal and opposite force, right? If you are giving out gratitude, positivity, like, you know, you are grateful for what you have, you are going to get that back.
I don't believe that one bit.
Why?
I think that people, and what I'm saying, by saying I don't believe that, I'm not saying I disagree. I'm saying that the energy you put out, I think has nothing to do with what you get back. I think the energy you put out changes your perception about what you get back. And you're more likely to perceive something as positive if you're putting out positive energy because that's your vibe. That's the energy that you have in your brain. So it has nothing to do with what you get back. It's everything has to do with perception. So it's kind of like if you're having a good day and you're out there whistling, you're happy, you're having a good day, and maybe you run into a sun shower and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to get a rainbow, because you'll focus on that because you're having a good day. But if you're having a bad day, you're like, this motherfucker, I'm getting pissed on by this rain, da-da-da. It has to do with, again, gain frame versus loss frame messages. And depending on how you feel at a given time, that's the perception you're going to have about what you get back. It has nothing to do with reality of something coming back to you. It's just how you perceive it.
Even if you get 2 rainbows?
If you were going into it, you say, why wouldn't I get 3? If you had in a bad mood, you're like, I should get 3 rainbows.
If you go in saying, I'm not going to get any rainbows, and then you get 2 back-to-back, how would you feel about that?
But you got pissed on by rain. If you have a negative attitude, you're going to think about the rain, not the rainbows.
So you don't think there's such thing as luck?
Everything's perception.
Everything.
Yes, there is such a thing as luck, but luck is just another word for chance. And chance can be mathematical probabilities.
Well, I was trying to relate it back to you pulling the world twice.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
What's that probability?
Don't say that's coincidence, because that's...
The probability of pulling that twice is between 1.15 and 1.45%. Mm-hmm. It's low.
Exactly.
It's low. It's very low. But I'm in a good headspace right now, so I'm more inclined to go, oh, that's good shit. Whereas if I were in a bad headspace, I go, okay, it's 1.45%. Who cares? It's not that big a deal.
Disagree. It's the forces
It
around us.
It very well could be. It very well could be. But my thing about, like, I hear that a lot, saying the energy you put out is the energy you get back. There's truth to that because the energy you get back is a function of the perception you have about the world around you. And you can translate what you get back into positivity or negativity depending on how you choose to do it in that given day. So I'm not disagreeing with you. Mm-hmm. I just have a different perspective on how energy gets converted.
Well, as we go on in this podcast, we will definitely go into that. I don't want to go into it today because we're just about tarot, but
we've got things like hypnosis and esketamine and other worlds and all this other stuff. Yeah, we're going to get into it. But
I'm excited to shift that perspective. You're going to get your mind blown. All right.
I will say, tarot is... I'm not convinced that it is seeing something that I wouldn't otherwise see, but I do think it is useful for putting a framework around the way somebody's thinking at a given time that's very, very useful.
So what you just said right there, how does that differ from me saying it gives you clarity and perspective on your energy right now?
It doesn't. It's not different. Yeah. No, that's not different at all.
So we agree.
We agree. Yeah, no, we absolutely agree on that. We absolutely agree on that.
Ha-ha.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Common ground. Common ground. Is that episode 2?
That is episode 2.
That's episode 2. I actually think what we're going to do, though, moving forward, in the future, we're going to start a Patreon for this because there's a lot of ground we don't cover. And I think something that we're going to do in Patreon is go over all the cards of the tarot. And talk about the ways that they can be interpreted, and maybe we'll do different draws, but we'll have those as special episodes for patrons moving forward. We'll go over maybe 5 cards in a given draw. We'll do little lightning episodes. I think that would be really useful because we've only seen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are
78?
69 more. Nice. Nice. My wife just rolled her eyes at me. You chose me. You took the ring. You took the ring. But I think it would be cool to go through the cards and see what else the deck has to offer. Because
that'd be great if it was the world again.
I know. That's what I was actually hoping. I was actually hoping for it.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I would also like to just go more in depth about like how we all became close, how our stories intertwined, and our belief in the occult and metaphysical and all that fun stuff.
And we're going to bring Brooke in more too, because Brooke believes in that crap.
Wow.
See, here's my thought process. 2 things is that I believe in ghosts, you don't.
No.
But you believe in freaking aliens and I don't.
Aliens exist, ghosts don't.
We don't know that. No, there's evidence of ghosts, too.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
No. We will have an episode on the paranormal.
Yes, and I want to be involved on that
yes.
one.
Brooke will be on there.
We should get an EVP reading.
Yes.
On the house.
Is that a thing? EVP?
Yes. Oh. So the medium that I want to bring on for your mediumship episode is actually a also a paranormal investigator.
At some point, I know you'll say no, I want to fuck with some evil shit.
No, you do not.
All right.
You can never get rid of that.
We are not inviting that in.
No. We're not getting an exorcism and shit.
We'll put the demon in Sully.
No!
Cut that shit right now.
Good energy.
Episode 2 in the can.
Episode 2. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Kurt and Brooke, for being here. I love you both.
Yeah, I love you too, Becca. Thanks for doing the reading. And if you're interested in tarot, there will be 69, not really 69, 69 more cards we'll cover. More like 12 or 13 more episodes. But they'll be on Patreon in the coming weeks. But thank you, listener.
Yes, and tune in next episode. We will be covering acupuncture.
Is acupuncture next?
Yes.
Are we doing any acupuncture in the episode?
No, we're going to give you a treatment, and then you will...
That's right.
Yeah.
Can I get a treatment?
Yes, and Brooke will get a treatment too.
See you next time, listener.
Thank you.
Bye.